on Get Up, and this is the story a lot of people who don't normally talk about sports are talking about all across the country. The U.S. Olympic roster for the upcoming Paris Games was officially released yesterday, and as was expected, Caitlin Clark's name was not on it. A major factor in the decision was experience. The team includes 7 players that won gold in 2020. After the release of the roster, the selection committee chair, Jen Rosati, said, quote, "It would be irresponsible for us to talk about her in a way other than how she would impact the play of the team, because it wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the U.S. It was our purview to create the best team we could for Coach Cheryl Reed." That was the explanation that was offered yesterday. This, of course, as I mentioned, this is being debated and talked about in so many different places where they don't really know the dynamics of basketball at all, much less women's basketball. You do, we do here. So you are the right person to answer this question. Was the right decision made here?
Yes, the right decision was made for Team USA, who they're chasing gold. That's the goal. That is the ultimate mission, to put the best team possible out on the floor to go win a gold medal. There's a standard when it comes to women's basketball, when it comes to Team USA in general. And I have to think, when the committee was thinking about putting this team together, they considered what Jen Rosati's answer would be when asked, why was Caitlin put on the team? Because you have to imagine we're asking her why she wasn't put on the team. We would probably go to her and say, why was Caitlin put on the team? And if they felt like their only answer was going to be based on marketing, or their best answer or their best reason was based on marketing, not experience, not chemistry with the team, not knowledge of international basketball, not feeling fresh, because there's no way she feels fresh. She's been playing basketball since November with one of the highest usage rates we've ever seen. And her usage is the exact same for the Indiana Fever. So you have to think about, when Jen Rosati, if she were to answer that question about Caitlin making the team, what was her answer going to be? It wasn't going to have any grounding in her being able to contribute in chasing gold versus the other players.
I think a role I can play in this conversation, because I see both sides of the debate, is to take the devil's advocate position to whatever you're saying. So if the answer that she gave had been, Caitlin Clark has brought an unprecedented level of interest and excitement to our game, and we are thrilled to be able to bring that to the world stage, would that not have been a reasonable response?
Not if your ultimate mission is winning gold.
Yeah.
Think about this, CJ. I'll bring you into this. You've played on elite teams, and I know this might not be your area as far as Caitlin Clark's, and that's fine. But listen, how important is team chemistry?
I think team chemistry is definitely important, and I think there's veterans that definitely have a say in roster construction, roster building. You better believe Team USA is asking some of the highest, most talented players to ever play the game who they would like to play with, how they believe they mesh, and how they believe they fit. I think all those things matter. It's not to say that she's not deserving, because you could argue that she is. She'll definitely be on a team down the road, and I think this is similar to the situation that LeBron, Melo, and those young stars went through in 2004, I believe, when they made the team, but they sat and watched them get, I think it was a bronze medal. They ended up losing to Puerto Rico, I believe, that year. But I think it's a similar situation in which it's almost like you graduate. You have to graduate into this type of team, this type of program, this type of situation.
One of the pushbacks, for lack of a better word, the disagreements with that I've heard, or whatever it is, a contrary opinion to that, is that this team is so good, they are so much better, that the American women are so much better than any other team they would face, that there's no way that any one player being on or off the team would jeopardize their chance of winning the gold medal.
Yeah, I've
heard that.
I wouldn't even finish a conversation with someone that said that, because the world's getting better. Like, just to be like, oh, they're good enough, they can sacrifice what they feel like would be the best team because they're already good enough, is the most mediocre approach to chasing a goal. Why would you not put together the best possible team that you think can accomplish the mission? And really, people that say that aren't paying attention. Team USA beat Belgium by 2 in February on a last-second shot from Breanna Stewart. Yes, it wasn't the Olympics, it wasn't the exact team, but that was a close game. In the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo, they won a game by 9, they won a game by 11. So to just feel like they're going to come out here and blow out every team, which that's great if they do, of course we want them to, but to just feel like, oh, they're already good enough, let's just put Caitlin on the team for marketing, it doesn't make any sense. Would you not want the best possible team that you could possibly have if you were chasing a mission?
No, I completely agree, and I think the argument is tough, because you have to think about who you would take off the team to put her on. I think that's the tough spot. Who leaves the roster to allow her to join, or are you adding a spot?
And another thing that you have to take into consideration, because you have to factor in everything. If someone goes down, if someone gets sick, Caitlin would be responsible for a heavy load of minutes. She could possibly be responsible for more minutes than we're even anticipating.
And would she not be, is she not capable of that?
She hasn't had an off season to train at the professional level. She's been playing basketball since November. We've seen what the physicality. Caitlin is having an amazing rookie season. I commend Caitlin for what she's been able to do as a rookie. She hasn't been a professional very long. And you have to imagine every other country that's paying attention to women's basketball in the United States knows about Caitlin. And they would try to go out her times 10 physicality. FIBA rules are more physical than WNBA professional rules.
Yeah.
If you think the WNBA, we've showed clips left and right. Ezzie Magbagor blocking a shot, you get hit in the head, somebody bodying someone. We've showed those clips from the W. It's tenfold in international basketball. The physicality is a completely different level.
All right, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. All right, the reality is there are people out there, whether they are right or wrong, whether they have their own agenda or not, who are suggesting that that this feeds into a narrative that exists. And sometimes in the world in which we live, narratives become reality, even if they aren't based in reality. That she is being excluded for other reasons, that any of the million of reasons that if you just click on Twitter for 2 seconds, you will see people throwing out there. Yeah. What is the reality there? What is the right response to people who would say she's being excluded because there is some agenda right now against her?
No, Caitlin is being excluded because she hasn't participated in any camps the way other rookies that were included on Team USA for the women's basketball side participated in a camp. Other rookies had USA experience. People want to bring up Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart won 6 gold medals with Team USA before she was on the Olympic roster as a rookie. Caitlin's won 3. Breanna Stewart's won twice as many before she was a rookie on that team. Experience matters. Team chemistry matters. Great stats, and I understand that, but basketball is so much more than the stats you can put up. It's how you get along with your teammates. It's chemistry. It's what your skill set, how easily you can put that with a team. Some skill sets and sometimes the way you play the game, you can't just plug and play, and it's not that easy. So I would just argue that anyone saying there's an agenda, if she participated in camp and she knew the team and she had team chemistry and put up great numbers and was still left off the roster, sure, then you could say that. But none of those factors are happening right now.
Your final word, CJ, just as you observe this is a phenomenon unlike anything I've ever seen. And I've been covering sports for 35 years. What is your overall take on it? For just a moment.
I think the fact that we're even having this conversation is a step in the right direction, highlighting women's basketball, highlighting the fact that it's continuing to grow. We're continuing to show interest in it, continuing to show that we care about it, continuing to show how important and how powerful and how great these women are. I think that's a part of this conversation. I think Caitlin's a great basketball player, and she's got a great future ahead of her. And it's not the end of the world for her to not be on this roster. I'm sure she's heartbroken about it. I'm sure deep down there's a chip that was always there that is going to get bigger. But I think for what's to come, I think this is just a part of the motivation. And I think you could argue she could have been on the team, and I could have arguments for that, and you could argue that she doesn't deserve it. You could also say the same for Enrique and some of the other players who were left off. And I think I always try to compare it. In sports is obviously different than women's sports, but when Bron and those guys literally made the team inside the bench, and they were clearly deserving of playing on a team that fell short of gold.
All right, let me leave it there for the moment. We're up against the bottom of the hour, or the end of an hour, I should say, but we will